If we make the statement, no two straight lines can enclose a space, do you agree?
The way I phrase it is, it is a monument to the curvature of the Earth.
Right, well,
Really
Laurie didn't.
It really is.
And bam, there's the radius of the Earth.
For all of the aspiring globe Earth defenders to come after you, obviously you've done your 4-year service, how would you describe that curvature to the globers?
I mean, it's not. I don't know why you're making it all grandiose, and I wouldn't try and teach somebody how to, how to talk about it. It's up to them. And
Okay.
And how would I wouldn't. Man, your word choice is so weird.
What, to define a curvature that you obviously know that?
Yeah, I wouldn't define it. It's just there it is.
Well, okay, here's another one then, right? In reality, elevation is measured as a vertical change in height. Would you agree with that?
That's not too bad, yeah.
Okay, right, it's okay. So a 0 change in the vertical height would be called an even elevation. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, you could say there. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Which would be a straight line.
Yeah, any 2 points make a straight line.
Brilliant. So a 0 change in elevation is a straight line.
Sure.
Okay, we got there at the end. So if elevation is a straight line with 0 change in elevation, right? How do you describe curvature? Like, do you want to see the test? Because it's like I say, it's from first principles, from the beginning to the end.
Yeah, sure. Show
And
me
you
the
want
test.
you really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okie dokie.
How long do you think it'll take?
I don't know. It depends. Sometimes, like people
Oh,
like
they're doing
50.
horizontal water, Bev.
Like it's like 50 and gently took like 2.5 hours with the straight line. But you seem you know about that, right? Okay.
Well, how long? What's the minimum amount of time you think it'll take?
About maybe half an hour, if we can get through it quick. Maybe even less than that.
Let me go get some food.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, I'll be back.
Sweet.
Hello.
Wow, Louis.
Hang on, Louis. I just got a
Welcome
super chat
here.
Let's get a super chat in, Lewis.
Yeah.
Why is Lewis so fucking retarded?
Hell yeah.
Louis, can you answer the super chat, please? So retarded.
Oh.
No?
I don't
No.
know.
Okay, that answers the question. Thank you very much, Louis.
I couldn't tell you. I wouldn't be
Exactly.
so retarded if I could tell you.
What happened? I missed it.
Tag in,
Well,
tag out.
Driving 80
What
miles
did
an
Laurie
hour.
tell you, Louis?
Lori?
Yeah.
Who's Lori?
Doesn't matter then. Well, for what reason do we have this honour of having Louis join?
Well, I saw a bunch of people in this chat room.
Is it Louis or Lewis? Which one?
Either one, whichever you prefer.
You saw loads of us in here and thought, wow, this place is kicking. Should have seen it. We've just had Laurie round. You know Laurie, surely.
Oh, Lori Gale.
I don't know.
Lori Letiano, Labreca.
Yeah. He's one of your better globe defender, or he thinks he is one of the better ones anyway.
I don't know him. That doesn't ring a bell.
Wow, he can't be that good then, Louis, if you've never heard of him.
Well,
He will be
lots of
awfully
people.
upset. He imagines himself as quite a good globe defender.
Yeah,
Where would
that's-
you
that's
put
fine.
yourself on the scale of globe defenders, Louis?
I wouldn't put myself on that scale.
I don't think I would either. Okay, that's good. So you wouldn't even try and defend the globe, would you? That'd be ridiculous to try and do that.
I wouldn't call what I do defending.
I wouldn't either. Okay.
No.
What would you call what you do?
Just interacting.
Interacting with the globe model?
No, with people, with you guys.
Okay. Right. Okay. Intellectually interacting? Or obfuscating interacting?
Is the interaction requires intellect, doesn't it? So
I don't know. It depends what sort of intellect.
Gravimeter is an acceleration meter.
Gravimeters. Yeah, yeah. You just pop in any time. We're talking about gravimeters. Do you know much about gravimeters, Louis?
No, I don't.
Measure. What does the gravimeter measure? Like a rock falling?
Don't know. Little balls, I think they were saying the other day. I don't know. I think it's a representation of gas go down, go boom, boom.
Yeah, but we cannot use the gravity, the word gravity anymore in this matter.
Yeah, we can. Of course we can. It's definitely a word.
Did I get my rolls taken away?
What rolls? Did you have rolls?
I used to be able to see.
You can call it for acceleration meter.
I used to be able to see like chat and stuff.
What chat?
No,
you're in chat.
No, like the text chat.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah. The other day, somebody came round here and they said they were reporting us. So we've decided to cut back on a few roles. I mean, this is Emma's server and she doesn't want to lose it because people are reporting things that there's no need for them to report.
Oh, fair enough.
There is no gravy meter. There's an acceleration meter.
There's no gravy meter.
John,
what's that?
We can't hear you at all, John, when you're speaking. It's really, really quiet.
Can't hear you over Brandon. Is he?
Okay, so like a scale.
All comes not from the fossil.
So if I step the scale measures me, right? What does a gravimeter measure?
Gravimeter is density and the acceleration with the electromagnetic.
No. Okay, you can't. Density is not like I'm not density. Okay, so like if I, as a human or an object, get on a scale, it measures the object. So what does a gravimeter measure?
It is because there's a misunderstanding. You cannot use the word gravity anymore.
Get a room.
This matter. It's a misunderstanding. It's about electrostatic. It's about acceleration.
John, you might want to reconnect, man. I don't know.
Because of
electromagnetism.
electromagnetism.
Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, I can. Are they listening to the bot or something? Or? I don't understand.
Yeah, it's a vector. Yeah, it's a vector. Yeah, it's vector because of electronic.
I'm confused.
You can't measure a vector, okay? A vector is a direction or a thing where an object goes. Without the object moving, you don't have a vector.
It's vector, yes.
No, bro, John. I think John talks nonsense, bro. So I got to just straighten.
No.
Hold on, John. Let me just say. So you don't measure vectors. You have to measure an object, right? If you don't have an object, hang on, John. I'm okay. I know. Hold on. Hang on. Slow down. If you don't have an object, you can't measure something, right? So you can't measure nothing. So gravimeters, they're trying to measure not an object.
It's almost nothing to measure. You have to have a very, very sensitive instrument to measure anything because it's so sensitive. It's almost nothing. It's just like a slit.
Oh my God.
I can hear you now. Must have been my connection.
I don't know. I could hear you before. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. I hear.
I was confused there for a minute. Thought Bev and them were.
I can hear you. We've got Rhythm Bot on. If you want to silence Brandon's and the crew, lower the volume on Rhythm.
Or you can go over to Brandon's there, the panel, I think.
Yeah, just telling Louis in case he can't hear us.
It's very, very difficult to hear everything. Everybody's talking at the same time.
If we want to talk to Lewis, we should probably kick him
my
out.
God.
What?
John, have you got the Rhythm Bot muted?
He won't understand, Spot on. He won't understand.
Why can't he understand that?
Somebody should disconnect the bot.
I just have the Rhythm Bot turned down.
Yeah, it gets confusion when some people don't understand how to turn it down.
Yeah.
It's happened a couple times.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty funny, but
it's a little.
Yes,
funny.
it is funny. It's very funny.
Quit talking over me. Why attention?
Listen to Bev.
Right, I've made the brew. Was there a purpose for the visit, Louis? I think yesterday when we were chatting and you talked all of that shite about geometry that you obviously don't know about. It must have been embarrassing. Is that why you've come back here?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Hmm. You said were you drinking yesterday?
No, not when we were talking. Later on, yeah.
Can you remember what we were talking about?
We were talking about so much stuff, man.
Mm-hmm.
No, I can't.
Me and Babs were talking about loads of stuff. I think me and you were talking about loads of stuff.
No, we covered a huge range of topics.
Oh, did we? Can you remember what they were? Because I don't imagine any of them got resolved, did they?
No, I think we...
Did we do straight lines?
Oh, I did have a question about straight lines, yeah.
You had a question about straight lines. Oh, go on.
Yesterday there was a question I asked about straight lines. Yeah.
Did I answer it accordingly?
No.
Well, give us it again then.
No.
I'll run it over. Everybody else is here. We can give marks and stuff.
No.
Well, we've just had. Are you on push to talk or something? You keep cutting out halfway through. We've just had Laurie in here, right? And we were talking about axioms and self-evident truths and basic mathematical statements. And we came up with the statement, no two straight lines can enclose a space. Do you get that?
Yeah.
It's definitely a statement, right? In logical statement, it's either true or false, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
Now, do you think, would you say it's an axiom?
No, that's a deduction. Or wait, would that be induction or a deduction? That's a logical conclusion based off of axioms, yeah.
I gotta disagree there, buddy. You don't have to deduce.
You're free to, yeah.
Yeah, no, so you don't have to deduce that will happen because it happens. So when you draw two straight lines and they will never enclose an area, you don't need to make that deduction. You have the observation of it happening. That's an axiom.
I see. I miss you.
No. Because you could make that statement without actually having the lines exist.
I see Montreal. I miss you.
Right. The statement is only describing the reality of the world we live in. Okay. Now, when you have something that is presented as true, that's the axiom. When you take something that is presented as true and then make conclusions based on that, that's not the axiom. That would be a postulate. So the fact that the two straight lines, well, you can feel free to disagree if I get it wrong, but the fact that two straight lines, right, can't touch each other to enclose an area, you don't need to conclude that. That is self-evident.
Yeah, a self-evident truth, right? There would be no need for somebody to say, prove it, right? Because it's just self-evident. It's an angle, right, Louis? You can't have two straight lines like enclosing a space because they just keep getting further away from each other. That's what angles do.
The axiom would be what a line is. That would be the axiom. And then it's a conclusion based on the axiom.
No, that would be a definition. You would define what a line is. You wouldn't axiomate a line.
Welcome.
What did you say, Bev?
You wouldn't axiomate a line. You would define a line. That within the definitions.
The definition is an axiom. That's
exactly no, the definition is a definition. The axioms are axioms. They're two separate things.
Axioms are definitions as well.
No. Hold on. So you can define anything. I can define a dragon. That doesn't mean a dragon is an absolute truth, right? Axioms are okay. So definitions and axioms are not connected in any capacity.
Exactly.
Not
exactly
all,
right.
Not
the
all
hand.
Definitions. Yes. Not all definitions are axioms, but all
definitions
are definitions.
No, definition is a definition. An axiom is an axiom. They're two separate things. Absolutely.
Axiom is comprised of words that are defined. Okay. Words have definitions, and then you use those words with definitions to express the truth of reality or an axiom.
So can we just go to it, right? If we make the statement, no two straight lines can enclose a space, do you agree with it? It's like a true or false.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You agree with it, right? Well, Laurie didn't.
That's fine.
Yeah. So could you imagine some way that you could think outside of the box to get two straight lines to enclose a space? Could you possibly?
Well, I think what he was going for was that if you're talking about the Earth and he is saying the Earth is a ball, then two people could walk in perfectly straight lines across the surface, and they would start together and diverge from each other and then come together at a farther distance.
Wow.
In that sense.
That would be circles. They'd be making circles.
I agree. Yeah.
A straight line, not a circle. You just changed you can't say
their path would not have been actually straight lines, but they would not have turned left or right on the surface to create that enclosed space.
Yeah, but that enclosed space also is not made from straight lines, so it has nothing to do. The axiom still holds.
I agree. I'm just saying that's where he was coming from.
Okay. So then what we would determine as straight lines, you equated to the Earth, but then said that they weren't straight lines. So let's say instead of equating it to a model, let's just say in reality, and say two straight lines in reality cannot enclose a space. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Good. So that's very good. So straight lines are straight lines. There's no curvature to a straight line.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was the question that you said you had about straight lines? Or
no. That question does. This is not the right setting for that question.
Okay. Was it a joke, or was it just too highbrow for us at the minute?
Oh, it was so very highbrow. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we've got some good minds here. If you think it's too much for us or too simple, you think you make yourself
it might tip the balance.
Okay. Oh, did you get to see our water thing? Have you
No.
Have you ever had any practical?
Many people are talking in the same time.
Yeah, I'm sorry, John. I'm really rude. Never mind.
I don't understand.
Now we'll get our turn.
Mm-hmm.
It's the rhythm bot, probably.
Oh,
it is.
Join,
definitely.
John. Turn the rhythm bot down.
He's just not gonna get it, bro.
Yeah.
Are you on a PC? Are you on a computer?
You'd be better off convincing him.
You're over talking them, Louis.
Cell phone.
You just gotta
just move the bot to another
bro,
room.
I'm telling you, you're just gonna have to mute him.
All in the same time.
It's all right. He doesn't like interrupting people, Louis.
Your guys are making more work for yourselves by leaving the bot in here.
Yeah, we know, but
Yeah. Well, everybody has to have their own, and we don't want to make people.
Oh my god!
He's got all friends there.
bro, it's cathartic for him. Okay, he comes in here, he screams it out with the bot. It's all a good time. Everybody wins.
Therapy.
Okay.
So, do you have any practical experience with anything, Louis? Because what I find is every time I've ever asked anyone especially over at Gen Pandas, nobody knows anything about anything really with level or any practical use. There's no builders or anybody that's ever used a level or a water level or an auto level or anything. You've all seen videos from YouTube and you've heard stories from people in chat rooms on Discord and places like that. But none of you have ever actually done anything. So where are you on that scale of practical experience for actual practical geometry, measuring shape and things like that?
Oh, I cut a hole through my wall and into the basement to run a water line.
Oh, nice. Was it a drill? Or did you use a saw?
I did use a saw. There was a gap I could run the line through. So really, when I say a wall, I just cut it through the molding, and I was able to actually do that with a saw.
Through the molding. Studded wall then, plasterboard.
Yeah, it was plaster, but so like in order to do that, I had.
In order to do that, you had to
measure
with the tape measure, not a level.
Yeah, tape measure.
Okay. So when I asked you if you had any experience with a level or anything like that,
no,
you
went
and tape measure
with a level.
Okay, just measuring shit.
You just said with geometry.
Yeah. Oh, so you like measuring something is geometry. Cutting a hole in a wall. I see a hole.
Hey, I didn't say it was like in depth or anything. You know, technically, when you're making measurements and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, nice. So,
technically, that is, yeah.
And like, where have you been in this arena of? We're getting people on the times. A bit past was 5 years. What's your timing? About, I'd say you're about 4, maybe 6.
That's probably pretty close.
Yeah.
I don't know though. It's probably pretty close though.
Yeah, we had. Who did we have in earlier? That we was like a 6 year. 6 year man, right? It's like proper service. 6 seems to be the limit, right?
Proper service.
Yeah, well, you've been globe defending for 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that if you like.
How many? Right. So you've been globe defending for so many years, and I wouldn't ask you how to define a straight line, but you guys like the curvature, don't you? Yeah.
Well, what?
How would you?
I feel indifferent about the curvature.
Okay. How would you define it, though? Right, because it is. I mean, that's what you've got, right? You definitely know you have curvature, don't you? Of the water level, of course, not just like a mountain going up. I mean, that's a curve, but that's not the curvature you're after. The curvature of the water level that you, obviously, you've been here 4 years, you've definitely found your proofs for it. How would you define that curvature? For all of the aspiring globe Earth defenders to come after you, obviously, you've done your 4-year service. How would you describe that curvature to the globers?
I mean, it's not. I don't know why you're making it all grandiose, and I wouldn't try and teach somebody how to, how to talk about it. It's up to them. And
okay.
And how would I wouldn't. Man, your word choice is so weird.
What, to define a curvature that you obviously know that?
Yeah, I wouldn't define it. It's just there it is.
How would you know what there it is if you couldn't even tell somebody what it is?
You've got to do better than there it is. I mean, at least, who did we have earlier? Highlander, that's who it was. He's been in it for 6 years. And he showed us a picture of some light underneath some clouds. And he said that was curvature. So, I mean, would you, like, show us a picture and go, there it is? Except you don't even show us a picture. You just say, there it is. I mean, how would you expect to bring up your children or, other people's children? Like, if you were an inspiring teacher, because you've been in 4-year service... No. You've got to do better than that, Louis.
No, I don't.
What? Anybody in this room here, right, would have a much better proof for curvature than there it is. I mean, in fact, if you were asked these people to say, how would you describe a horizontal, right, rather than a curvature? I bet any one of them would be able to give you much better answer than there it is. That's pathetic, Louis.
No, that's all you need.
It's not all you need. It's pathetic. So go on. Do your best to describe the curvature that you've got to prove shape of something, right? Because you've definitely got a model, haven't you? And you've proved the curvature of that model, so you must be able to describe how you've proved that, at least. Rather than...
Louis, I take myself as a very clever individual, and it still took me 3 tries to define a curvature.
No, I just took a picture of it, and there it is.
No, you got to tell us with words, man. Come on. What is it? What are we looking at? Picture I'm blind. You got to describe the curve of the Earth to me. How would you do that?
Well, hold a ball in your hands.
Yep.
And it's like that. You're just really, 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 really small in comparison to the ball.
So you're telling me you can't articulate how you would measure, how you would define a curve? Is that what you're saying? You don't even know how to define
you said to a blind person. A blind person would understand what a ball is.
Okay, but that's not a ball's not a definition. It's a physical object. You're trying to.
Yeah, but it would still.
And a curve.
They're gonna have experience of a ball, and they're gonna be able to conjure up an image in their mind or an understanding in their mind of what a ball is.
Do you not think they might end up getting really confused with? They might end up conflating elevation and curvature, mightn't they, if you were to give them a ball, right? How would they know what elevation is as opposed to the curvature, right? Because Jem Panda would go fucking crazy at you if you were to do that. Don't do that with Jem. He'll go mad at you. So when obviously keep elevation out of it when you're talking about curvature.
No, you could do elevation. Yeah.
No, you can't. I mean, Laurie said that elevation earlier is like a straight line. It's like in between from one point to another point.
Oh, good for Laurie.
Yeah. Was that not what you'd say?
No.
Well, okay, here's another one then, right? In reality, elevation is measured as a vertical change in height. Would you agree with that?
That's not too bad, yeah.
Okay, right, it's okay. So a 0 change in the vertical height would be called an even elevation. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, you could say there. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Which would be a straight line.
Yeah, any 2 points make a straight line.
Brilliant. So a 0 change in elevation is a straight line.
Sure.
Okay, we got there at the end. So if elevation is a straight line with 0 change in elevation, right? How do you describe curvature?
Well, it all comes down to your understanding of elevation.
Yep, which is just a straight line. We've just understood it. We both made sure we understood it together.
Elevation is your distance away from the surface.
No, the elevation is your distance away from the mean sea level, and it's a vertical distance.
Yeah, the surface
of the bit you're on, right? So if you're on a mountain and it's 3,000 feet above sea level, then you're 3,000 feet a vertical height above the sea level, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, and then if you are, let's say you're 51 feet above the sea level on a canal in a dinghy or a canoe, it's up to you. Right, so you're on the water level. Your bum's actually on the water level, and it's 51 feet above sea level. And then you're paddling along on your little canoe, right? And you go a mile or 2 miles or 3 miles down the road. You are still at 51 feet elevation. You've not changed in any vertical height at all. Right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay, now, perpendicular to vertical is horizontal.
Mm-hmm.
So if at one end of the the canal, you drop a plumb bob, which is vertical, then it would be perpendicular to the water level underneath it, right? On the water level of the canal that you're on in your little canoe. And then you go along and you drop a plumb bob again, and it's perpendicular to the horizontal right underneath you, wherever you are. And anywhere along that water that you go, you do that, and it's perpendicular. Dropping perpendicles on the canal. It's going to be a top sport, this. But that's obviously straight line elevation. Proved, but we've just dropped a thing, so they're all horizontal. So when you're on the water level, you're on a horizontal. So how do you describe curvature?
Well, you were just on the surface the entire time.
Mm-hmm. Horizontal. There's no curvature in a horizontal. Horizontal is a straight line, right? A horizontal is a straight line, isn't it?
The surface curves.
But the horizontal is a straight line, isn't it? It's not. You don't. Well, but you're on the surface of the water, right? And it's perpendicular to every plumb bob, which would be perpendicular to.
Each plumb bob is unique.
No, it'd be the same plumb bob because you're on in your little dinghy or your canoe or whatever. It's the same plumb bob.
Each time you take the plumb bob measurement, it's unique.
But it would be perpendicular, wouldn't it? to the water level of the part of the water that you're on.
That's right.
Yeah. So that perpendicular line, the horizontal line, it would have loads of shared straight line segments, wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, it just depends on how precise you can measure that.
But it would be perpendicular at all points. The plumb bob would be perpendicular to the level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
And one of them being vertical and the other one being horizontal. And a horizontal's a straight line, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't think of it as like a... Yeah, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, straight line.
Yeah. Okay, so how would you define the curvature then?
How would I define it? I mean, it's just the surface.
It's all right. You'd be fine to use elevation now as well, because we just established that elevation. You use that in any way you want.
Yeah, the surface just curves.
Where? If you've not just conflated elevation with curvature, have you?
No.
Oh, well, where's the curvature? How would you describe the curvature?
It's just all across the surface.
The horizontal water surface.
No. The horizontal is perpendicular to your plumb.
Yep.
Which changes as you travel across the surface.
But we're on the water level.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's perpendicular to the plumb at every point along the surface of the water.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. As established by a hydrostatic equilibrium.
I'm not sure what that has to do with anything.
What, a hydrostatic equilibrium? Hydro's a water, static is not moving, equilibrium, you know what that means. You know, you've done a bit of physics, surely.
It's the how a water level works, okay? Now, without that part of it, the hydrostatics, right? The equilibrium between the air and the water, there's no mechanism to make the water level work, right? That's the mechanism that makes it work. You have air, you have water, and then you have that line in between that is the equilibrium. That line, that equilibrium, when you graph it, it's just zero in a straight horizontal line.
No, it's curving.
He's right there, Louis. That's dead right.
Bro, in order to curve that line, you have to curve the air, right? An equilibrium would not curve. That's why it's an equilibrium. In order to curve, it would have to be out of equilibrium, and then it would want to go back to equilibrium.
Yeah, it's the surface of the water.
Yeah, the surface of the water next to the air creates an equilibrium. An equilibrium is the same throughout. Graphed, that is a straight line. When you curve it, it's not the same throughout. It's changing.
You're right, exactly.
There you go. Welcome to horizontal Earth.
Well, no, it is curving.
What? You've just conflated elevation with curvature. Jem will be really upset with you. You've just we've taken a horizontal line, Louis, and I mean, I know sometimes this gets a bit tough on people, but do you want to bend horizontal?
What?
Yeah, that horizontal surface. You keep saying it curves. Are you mind curving it? Or
No.
Oh, right.
The surface is not a straight line.
What? The horizontal surface?
No. The surface can be said to be horizontal at any given point.
A point, but it's a line. No, you can't just take it back. It's a horizontal line. It's a plane.
No, it's not. It's not.
What?
No,
we're pulling back from a horizontal being a line now, are we?
No, we're not pulling back from a horizontal being a line.
Oh.
We're pulling back from the surface of the Earth being a horizontal line.
But it's just the surface of the hydrostatic equilibrium of the water establishes a horizontal plane of reference.
Your line of questioning before had to do with establishing a horizontal line in relation to a plumb. And I agree that horizontal.
No, it wasn't establishing one from a plumb. It was just there's the water level, right? And you could hold a plumb anywhere. We did that, and you said, yeah, it would be perpendicular to the surface of the water there, right?
Yeah.
And well, perpendicular does mean two straight lines. Like in a definition of it, mathematical definition.
It means 90 degrees. Yeah.
Yeah, it means perpendicular.
Yeah.
Right angles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Two straight lines, though.
No, it doesn't necessarily have to.
Yeah, it does. It means it's a mathematical thing. It's two straight lines.
Point.
It's got two straight lines in the definition. Do you want me to get it for you? I'll get it for you. Put it in the debate discussion. Can you see debate discussion?
Perpendicular. It just has to be perpendicular at the point where the
perpendicular is two straight lines, Louis.
Yeah, because if it's only perpendicular,
not necessarily. It doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Yes,
mathematical.
Bro, if you're perpendicular only at one point, right? That's not perpendicular. The whole idea of perpendicular is that it's a 90-degree angle. An angle is the same no matter which point along those two lines you go. That's how angles work. Once you change that, angles do not work. Everything falls apart. If you curve the lines at an angle, the angle is not uniform throughout. The ratio is not uniform throughout. You change it. It doesn't work. This is why things work, because of that ratio.
I'm not sure what that has to do with anything.
Right. What am I looking for? The definition. Definition 10. There you go. There it is. In the debate discussion, do you want me to read it out for you? When a straight line standing on another straight line, that's two straight lines already, right? When a straight line standing on another straight line makes the adjacent angles equal to one another, each of the angles is called a right angle, and the straight line, again, which stands on the other straight line, is called a perpendicular to it. Now that's a mathematical definition that's mentioned straight lines 4 times, no curve.
Yeah, that's one way to make a perpendicular.
No, that's the only way to make a perpendicular. You can only make a perpendicular with a straight line.
That's not true.
It definitely is true. Because you can only make an angle between two straight lines.
You are free to believe that.
Uh-huh.
I have no obligation to convince you otherwise.
No, you wouldn't be able to, because I know for a fact that there is a proof that you can only measure an angle between two straight lines.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a definition within maths, actually.
Oh, wow. I had no idea that's what you thought.
Yeah. And you, obviously, you trust maths, don't you?
Well, I mean, it's not the only way to have a perpendicular.
What, some other way than in maths?
No, what you read is only one way to create a perpendicular.
No, that is the mathematical definition of the word perpendicular. That's where it comes from.
I understand that's what you believe.
Yep.
It's not what I believe.
It's a proof, though, right? You understand that within Euclidean geometry, the definitions aren't axioms and therefore get proved. And when there's a mathematical proof for something, guess what?
That's fine. What this definition that you just read it's true.
Yep.
I have no problem with that definition.
So you wouldn't be able to falsify it, would you? Because then you would have to falsify mathematics.
It's just not the only way to create a perpendicular.
Mm-hmm. See, this is one of the things that we have with there's a definition. There's a definition there. Yeah, there's a definition there, right? That means what it means within maths. Now, have you ever heard of a proof of in mathematics that a triangle has only 180 degrees?
It only has what?
180 degrees. It's axiomated, but there is a proof, right?
Oh, yeah. I know that.
Right. So if there is a proof within mathematics that states a triangle can only have 180 degrees ever, then do you think there could be another proof somewhere else that there is a triangle that has more or less than 180 degrees?
No. I don't think that.
I mean, that would be ridiculous, wouldn't it, to say that a triangle could have only 180 degrees and more than and less than at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah. Good. So once there's a definition within mathematics, then we have to stick to that, don't we?
Yeah, but part of that triangle definition or rule or whatever,
the axiom,
part of it was that it said there's no way for a triangle to have more. It's the only way. Right?
Well, it's axiomated. Do you want me to show you the axiom?
Your definition here with perpendicular, it does not say that this is the only way to create a perpendicular. It just says that the straight lines will, and when they intersect each other in this way, they will be called perpendicular.
Yeah. We're not. This is why it's not about definitions. It's about what happens when you take two straight lines. They create these angles, right? Those boxes. We described that. You cannot change what happens, right? You can't just bend one of those lines and then say, oh, yeah, that's still doing the same thing, because it's not. Everything will change from that. Once you start bending the lines, nothing lines up anymore.
Well, at the point of the intersection, it will still be perpendicular as long as you don't.
It can't be. No, because you cannot put an angle at a point. There's no such thing. That would be ridiculous to say that.
The angle needs the two straight lines that go off ad infinitum. That's what an angle is.
The angle is the measurement of distance.
You want me to read you the definition of an angle? No doubt it'll come just before that.
Angle has nothing to do with distance. This is where you're getting confused, because the distance between the lines change. It gets greater, but the angle is always the same. Angle and distance are nothing to do with each other. Yeah, so that's why an angle, if you change any of the distances, like if you have a straight line and then you start bending one of them, you have now messed up the ratio, and you've destroyed the angle. It's not like it's an angle up until that point. It is no longer an angle.
Only destroy the angle if the part at the intersection gets bent.
Yeah, can I just give you definition 9, Euclid's elements, mathematical, right?
Yeah.
A plane rectilinear angle is the inclination of two straight lines to one another, which meet together but are not in the same straight line.
Okay.
Because do you know what straight lines that share a common segment are called? If you know what two straight lines and they share a common segment, do you know what that's called then?
That's called that they are in the same line.
It's the same straight line, right?
Yeah.
Good, you've got it, I think.
Yeah.
So within maths, we can get proofs. And
yeah, but I mean, your definitions that you've read are not mutually exclusive with what I've said.
With mathematics.
That's correct. Neither are they mutually exclusive with mathematics. That's right.
Okay, they are the definitions from mathematics.
They are some of the definitions from mathematics.
No. They are the definitions from mathematics.
The statement that they are the definitions from mathematics is true. So is the statement that they are not the only definitions.
Go on, give us another definition of perpendicular, then. And
a straight line at an angle of 90 degrees to a given line, plane, or surface.
A plane you added there.
Or surface.
Yeah, well, a plane is the only one of those. Surface. Well, the first surface must be plane.
You might disagree with it, and that's fine. You don't have to.
Okay, but this is why we don't go by definitions. Now, the thing is, if you make a cross, no matter that's what that is. The cross is the cross, right? Like saying, oh, well, we can change a definition and make that something else. That it can't work like that. There's only one. Perpendicular can only have one definition because it's describing one thing, a cross.
You're right. Perpendicular is describing a 90-degree
and you can only have an angle between two straight lines.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same thing with that. Angle, when you say angle, you are referring to a very specific thing.
A right angle. Right? A right angle is the intersection of two right lines, making a right angle. Now, it's right because it is correct. It's the only angle that can have 4 equal right angles, right? Making all right angles equal. That's also another axiom for you. All right angles are equal, right? There's no different sized right angle.
Yeah.
That's because it's the inclination of 2 straight lines together in a very, very particular position. Do you know why it's a very, very particular position? Because it is the same as the 2 right lines that we all use in reality whenever we're doing any measurements.
Okay. Well, because if it was anything else, it wouldn't be what it was. Okay.
So that bit before, when we were saying about having 2 straight lines of shared segments, like we had before when we were dropping our plumb bob down the canal, would that not be a lot of shared straight line segments of horizontal, loads of little horizontal shared straight horizontal lines all the way down it?
Depends on how far apart you took the measurements, but practically speaking, you would be able to say that lots of them are basically the same line.
Yeah, so you could do it every millimeter if you wanted to, couldn't you? And obviously the horizontal straight line would be at least as long as your plumb bob, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but if instead of doing that, you took a measurement every, 4 or 5 miles, then the difference between the 2 lines would become much more easy to see.
The difference between the horizontals?
That's correct.
Are you suggesting... Oh no, this seems really weird. Are you suggesting that horizontals intersect?
I am not suggesting that. I'm saying that would happen.
It would happen?
Yep.
Or it does happen?
Well, I mean, people aren't running around just establishing horizontal lines just to see if they intersect.
Yeah, surveyors use horizontals all the time.
If they did,
for establishing
this
elevation
would happen.
changes.
But for the hypothetical, sure, yeah, it does happen.
The hypothetical where?
Right.
The hypothetically happen.
Right. No, this entire conversation is hypothetical.
Yeah, because obviously there's no chance of a horizontal actually intersecting, is there?
Well, no, because we haven't actually done anything. We're just talking about what we think would happen.
You've not actually done anything. I have. I've done plenty.
During this conversation, none of us have actually done anything but create a hypothetical.
Okay. Yeah. You've created a hypothetical. I've been talking about reality and my experience, and I'm trying to find out what level you.
I have also been talking about reality in my experience, but because it's all taking place in a conversation, I think it's just honest to call it a hypothetical, because it's possible that we're all wrong about what we think reality is.
All of us.
No,
we are simply
the whole point of reality is that it's not wrong. Reality is what we use to judge if something is right or wrong. So you can't say that reality is wrong. If I wanted to say I could fly, you'd be like, show me reality, and say I can't.
I didn't say that reality was wrong. I said our understanding of reality could be wrong.
Rumpus says we don't understand all the time. Is that what you mean? Like Rumpus, you've heard Rumpus say you don't understand, and now you're doubting yourself as to whether you understand anything.
No.
No?
And is two straight lines not touching really that hard to understand? Right? Like you got two straight lines.
No, I understand it.
Yeah. Okay. So how could you make us understand how they could touch, or you could just say, well, maybe they possibly could.
How could I make you understand how two straight lines could touch?
Yeah. Give us your idea how you understand two straight lines could possibly touch.
Just imagine two straight
Enclose
lines.
a space. All right, sorry.
Intersecting.
Yeah. Okay. Vertical angles are equal. Yeah, we know. Can they enclose a space, Louis?
The vertical angles are not. Oh.
Sorry, are you breaking up, or is that just me?
Vertical lines are not equal. No,
they're not equal.
That's correct.
I don't even understand what that. Nobody's
not parallel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What about if they're perpendicular to the same horizontal?
If two lines,
two vertical lines are perpendicular to the same horizontal, what about that?
To the same line.
To the same horizontal, yeah.
But the thing is, what is horizontal is not the same at all locations.
Horizontal is horizontal, right?
Bro, definitions don't change along the course of the line. You don't have a line, and as you start going along it, it stops becoming a line and it changes into something else. That's preposterous, man.
You're right. The line, each individual line that you establish as horizontal from a given vertical point, that line will not change. But
he's talking about one horizontal with two.
But they're not going to intersect, are they?
It's
right. So I'm just saying, imagine one horizontal line, and then put 2 points on it, and draw a perpendicular to that horizontal on those 2 points.
You should stop interrupting me.
I interrupted your brain freeze.
No, you interrupted me speaking.
Okay, right. Well, one straight line with 2 points on it and two perpendiculars from that. Right now, if one of the lines is horizontal and the two perpendiculars formed on that horizontal line, what would you call them?
No, those would be parallel.
Yeah, and they would be perpendicular to a horizontal. What would you call them?
Perpendicular. They would be perpendicular to the line they're intersecting.
Yeah, the horizontal. Make a horizontal line first, step one.
Yeah.
And then put two perpendiculars to that horizontal line. What would you call them?
I would call. You would have a couple of options there. One of them is that one of the vertical lines would actually be truly vertical and perpendicular with the horizontal line.
Yeah.
And the other one would be very slightly not vertical and not perpendicular with the surface of the Earth.
But we're not talking about Earth. Why'd you bring Earth into this? We're only talking about a line and two straight lines drawn vertically. You're changing. Do you not see how you're literally changing the definitions of words to fit your beliefs about the Earth, man?
All right. So the reason I brought the Earth into it is because
I agree with Right the Hand, Louis. Your model is dictating what you're saying. It doesn't really seem to make geometrical sense, and you are being led by a model. Not logic, Louis.
Stop interrupting me.
I was just trying to help you.
Stop interrupting me.
I'm not interrupting you if you're not talking.
I was talking, and you interrupted me. And I'm about to be talking again.
Go on, then.
The reason that I brought the Earth into it is because the word
You're obsessed
horizontal,
with it. That's why you brought it in.
Are you interested in having a back and forth?
Wow, Louis. Dead air. Have you gone to sleep? Go on.
Well, you interrupted me again, so I didn't think you wanted to hear what I had to say.
Did you want to wait for me to talk to say that I've interrupted you again, or do you want to say something?
What do you think dictates vertical, Louis? Do you think vertical is dictated by the air? Like, how is these verticals being dictated?
Vertical is determined by the location of the Earth. So vertical is just straight up away from the Earth.
Okay,
that's
so
up. Okay. Vertical is up.
That's correct.
Don't think so. You know what's horizontal then? If vertical's up, what's horizontal?
Perpendicular to
left. Is it or right?
It's perpendicular.
Or is it away or to behind? Right. Vertical's up and down. Right. The same as a horizontal is a plane.
It is perpendicular.
That is perpendicular to vertical, yes. And any point on that horizontal plane will have a perpendicular that is vertical.
Vertical is a plane too. It's a plane going forward like a razor blade, forward and backwards.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
I've got a...
You have an up and down. You have an up and down everywhere. If you have a horizontal plane, right, and you put a vertical plane, that's your perpendicular, then your horizontal. That's what it would make. Yes.
If the Earth was flat, you're correct.
No, not if the Earth, no matter what shape the Earth is, those verticals and horizontals would cut through the Earth, whatever shape it is, and they would be straight up and down, left and right.
Yeah, check out the perpendicular in the debate discussion. X, Y, Z planes. Do you see them all rotating round there?
Mm-hmm.
All perpendicular, orthogonal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're your planes. Vertical, horizontal.
So at any given point, vertical is only at one point. Horizontal can extend out because it's perpendicular to that point.
Yep. Horizontal planes.
Sure, I was just responding to what Right the Hand said about vertical also being a plane. It's not. Vertical could be a line.
Vertical can't be a point.
Vertical would be a line.
Yeah, and you can't be vertical at a point.
I mean, that's
just like you can't be horizontal at a point. You need the line to be horizontal and the line to be vertical.
Sure, yeah.
So when ballers say horizontal at a point, that's just ridiculous, right?
Well, the horizontal is just being established from the vertical.
Yeah, but you need lines to be horizontals. You can't be points that are horizontals.
Yeah, but just because the horizontal is a line or can be thought of as a line or thought of as a plane doesn't mean that that reflects the shape of the Earth.
I never said that. Do you ever hear me say that?
Oh, that's basically the argument being made here, isn't it?
No, we're just trying to agree on what a horizontal is, right? Because once we agree on what a horizontal is, then we can go to the next step of creating one in reality.
Well, you don't need me for that.
No, we don't. We can do it ourselves, Louis. We've got tests and all sorts coming out of our wazoo. Because like you said earlier, you've not done anything. Well, we have. We've done loads.
Oh, I thought you were just asking me generally about stuff.
Oh. Why? Did you have a more specific answer? Or
no.
Oh.
I just thought, it seemed like a casual exchange, but I see now that you were taking it much more seriously.
Taking what much more seriously? You just popped in here, Louis. There's nothing serious about one of you guys coming in here, dude.
Seriously.
Yeah.
We're just trying to agree. There's nothing, nobody's taking this serious.
Yeah, we definitely do not take you seriously, Louis. Don't worry about that.
No,
there's no fear of that.
You're taking this entire conversation very seriously.
No, absolutely not, Louis. I would never take you seriously at all, Louis. After our exchange the other day, you've got no fear there. I don't know if somebody else might be taking you seriously.
It wouldn't be about fear, but I do suspect you're in denial about taking it seriously.
Okay. Okay. Off you go. Yeah, have you got some serious stuff for us? Or
no?
No. Okay. Well, I'm not taking you seriously because you've not said anything that for me to take seriously. Have you?
So far, we've just agreed about the definitions of different stuff in math. So.
You agreed? I'm not so sure you agreed at very much.
Sure we did. We just didn't agree about the surface of the Earth.
Oh, let me ask you this, Louis. What do you think comes first? How we measure the Earth, or the standards which we use to measure the Earth?
What comes first? How we measure the Earth, or the standards we use to measure it? You have to create the
but to go and
first,
take the measurements or try to
sure
ascribe
a
difference in those measurements when it's so small, you'll never see it, and there's no validity.
Yeah, basically what I'm getting at. Before you say the Earth is not horizontal,
we're trying to dig a hole and create a straight line, and then check it with water. That's what the water level tool does.
Well, I wouldn't say
it creates a horizontal over any distance in any direction around the corner.
No, I'm not
Flim,
saying,
flam, whatever you want to add to it.
Before we can say the Earth is or isn't.
Right, but the water in the trench,
isn't
it's not our control.
And how to establish it, right?
Our control, our baseline.
Brandon is having a go at a water level with Brandon, Rakia, and Adam Meakin. If anybody's interested,
does nothing, because if
I'm doing water level stuff,
yeah, a water level.
Bro, you know, I gotta stay on the back burner for a little bit.
Yeah,
I got a plan though. I got a plan to I'm gonna make another right to hand and then go in.
As if
water, because it is
suspicions.
Horizontal.
I don't know whether I can listen to that. Is that why you might be over here, Louis?
What? It is why I might be over here.
I mean, what?
Is why?
Is why?
Is what?
Is why?
Why
what?
would I? You asked why I would.
Is that why you're over here, Louis?
Is what why? Is what why I'm over here?
Because of the water level from the other day.
No. I there's no particular reason that I'm over here.
Okay, so you didn't think you wanted to come and see the test or anything? No, you're not.
If you want to show it to me, yeah.
No, I mean, like, do you want to see the test? Because it's like I say, it's from first principles, from the beginning to the end.
Yeah, sure. Show
and
me
you
the
want
test.
you really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okie dokie.
How long do you think it'll take?
I don't know. It depends. Sometimes, like people like 50.
Horizontal water, Bev.
Like it's like 50 and gently took like 2.5 hours with the straight line. But you seem you know about that, right? Okay.
Well, how long? What's the minimum amount of time you think it'll take?
About maybe half an hour, if we can get through it quick. Maybe even less than that.
Let me go get some food.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, I'll be back.
Sweet. Wow. Do you reckon Louis gonna have a clue what the fuck we're talking about? Right, well, I'll clean the board off a bit. Yeah, I'll just turn the rhythm bot up a bit. That was a bit interesting though that they're doing water level.
A horizontal line to double check.
Yeah, I think that's at least
I don't know how else to put it.
The point I made earlier with the 1 kilometer warehouse is that locally, even at a spirit level locally on a ball works. Yeah.
It's strange. Adam Meakin pushing against the water level, right? Not what you'd expect, is it?
I gotta say, you're totally blowing my mind right now. You twat. How do we know the Earth is not flat?
We don't. It's flat.
That established that.
Understanding of the world in which you live, then of course the world looks flat. The world looks flat. The world looks flat.
Neil.
Bitch. You twat.
I gotta say, you're totally blowing my mind right now.
That's what I do. 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 What I do.
But I don't have much patience for anyone who denies that this challenge is real. We don't have time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society. Flat Earth Society.
My friends, these people are so out of touch with science. You don't need to be a scientist to know that the Earth is round.
They must have been founding members of the Flat Earth Society. They would not have believed that the world was round.
Like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash.